Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, I'm going to be showing you a new, it's a Pokemon tool. And the problem is that if I put the name of the tool in the description of my YouTube video, or in the title, or if I tag the real name, this is definitely going to get flagged by YouTube as inappropriate for all advertisers, and they will demonetize my video. So don't tell anyone, but it's called Giant Bomb. Yeah, kind of stuff YouTube doesn't really want you putting on there, apparently. So Giant Bomb, then, our translation comes from the lovely David Hochmann over at RappelmannTCG. It has been revealed by the official YouTube channel, and I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't a really awkward card, but it's really, really good. It is a Pokemon tool card, and like several we've had, if it is attached to one of your Pokemon, you discard it at the end of your opponent's turn. It is a one-shot deal. It stays for one turn, but it's really good. If the Pokemon is hit for 180 damage, the defending, or the attacking Pokemon, I should say, takes 100 damage, 10 damage counters. So if you want to do 180 damage or more, you've got to take back 10 damage counters. And this should immediately remind pretty much all of you of Bursting Balloon. Bursting Balloon was very similar. Again, it fell off at the end of your opponent's turn, and again, it punished your opponent for attacking you. The big difference here is that Bursting Balloon did 6 damage counters regardless, and this does 10 damage counters, but only if you would be taking 180 damage. If you're not taking 180 damage, it doesn't do anything. So look, it really depends on what Pokemon it's on and what Pokemon you're up against. So if we take something like Reshiram and Charizard, for instance, Reshiram and Charizard basically doesn't do little damage. Reshiram and Charizard's basically got one option most of the time. They hit for 230 damage. Now they've got a GX attack that hits for 200 or 300, but that's also above 180, so it doesn't really matter. And then they've got Outrage, 2 energy, 30 damage, plus 10 more for each damage counter on this Pokemon. But even then, you can control it. If you do 150 to Reshiram and Charizard, they have to do 180 back, and oh look, Giant Bomb's working. Wouldn't you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? So what you're trying to do here is just set up KOs. So let's carry on with the Reshiram and Charizard example. Reshiram and Charizard has 270 HP, and it gives up free prizes. But if you can catch them with this, then all of a sudden they've got 170 HP and give up free prizes. Now, for a deck like, Pikachu and Zekrom, that's like music to your ears. If you can get this working with Pikachu and Zekrom, you can KO one of these on the bench using the residual damage from your GX attack. Because you do 200 to the active, 170 to the bench. So now, if you can bait them into attacking you with this attached, they get the KO on you, except actually we're not having choice band post-rotation by the time this comes out, so they'll have to use their GX attack, or they're going to really struggle to one-hit KO you. And then you do 100 or 10 damage counters with this, and then Tag Bolt GX can actually be used to get a KO when they're on the bench, which is frankly ridiculous. KO a GX in the active with a Tag Team GX on the bench. I mean, there's 5 prizes in one attack. And the great thing here is when you stick it on a Pokemon like Pikachu and Zekrom, you're basically saying to your opponent, one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to take 10 damage counters, or I'm not going to get KO'd. And if they hit you for 180 to 230, you actually get both. They take the damage counters and they're not KO'd. And you put your opponent in a really awkward position. And here's the thing, right? There are a bunch of cards being rotated that are going to help this be so much better. We're losing Field Blower. Now, to be fair, we're still going to have Faber, but as I like to tell you, you can't just replace item cards with supporters. Items, you can play as many as you like during your turn. Supporter cards, you can play any one during your turn. That's not the same, ladies and gentlemen. That's not the same. So all of a sudden here, your opponent is struggling to get rid of it unless they're playing Faber, but even then, they've got to give up their supporter for the turn to get rid of your stadium, and you're feeling all right about that. But the other thing is we're losing all of our gusting options. Because you see, back when Bursting Balloon was out, we had cards like Guzma and Lysander. So what your opponent would do would be to just ignore you. They would ignore the Pokemon with Bursting Balloon, because bearing in mind, I've said this, but let's say it again, it falls off at the end of your opponent's turn. So if they can avoid hitting you for a single turn, they can avoid this tool altogether. It never hits them. They never take any damage from it. But here's the thing. We're losing Guzma to the rotation. We're losing Pokemon Catcher to the rotation. We're losing Counter Catcher to the rotation. We're even losing Escape Rope to the rotation. And if you even want to take it one step further, we're losing Repel to the rotation. Now, there's still plenty of cards we are going to have. If you're playing a fire deck, you can play Ninetales. And if you're playing a water deck, you can play Volcanion Prism Star. You don't get the choice of what comes active. And if you don't get a choice, your opponent can just have two Pokemon, each of which has one of these tools. And then you have to hit into it anyway. But your opponent can only play 4 of these in their deck. So they're wasting 2 of them in one turn. And we don't have Eco Arm at the moment, so they're actually kind of hard to recover. So we're not feeling too bad about that. One of the things I absolutely love this with is Metagross. Now, I don't know if Metagross is actually going to be the best use for this, but just bear with me while I explain. And even if Metagross isn't the best use, this should help to show you what an impactful card this can be. Metagross has 170 HP. So the only way they KO you with one of these is if they do exactly 170. If they cannot hit for exactly 170, either they're 2-hit KOing a single prize Pokemon, or they're taking 10 damage counters. And then, of course, for a single energy, you do 60 this turn, 120 the next. So that means that they essentially, you do hit them for 60, then they hit you and take 100, and they're straight away up to 160. And then you're playing stuff like Shrine of Punishment, and then another Metagross comes in, and you're realistically hitting 240, 250 around that range with Shrine of Punishment, and stuff like Pikarom go down, which is hilarious. And the reason I love Metagross so much with this is twofold. First of all, you've got Steven's Resolve, you can play it without your turn ending. And secondly, you've got Mullane. And Mullane is amazing with this. Mullane says you can shuffle an item card back into your deck just so long as you discard 2 metal energy from your hand. Cool. It's actually any trainer, not even just item. And Mount Coronet gets you your 2 metal energy back. No, you can't play Mount Coronet and Shrine of Punishment, but you can switch between them and you'll be fine. And now you can essentially have Metagross with this attached every single turn. And your opponent is going to be 1-hit KOing them, but taking 100 damage. And you're only doing 60 per turn. When you add in this, when you add in Shrine of Punishment, when you remember you're a single prize Pokemon, this gets better and better and better. If you can take advantage of this with a non-GX, you're absolutely rolling. I mean, it's not a good card, but my boy Mamoswine has 180 HP. That's amazing. Okay, it's rotating, but if they 1-hit KO, they've got to take the damage. How about something like Wailord? Wailord's good, both of them, although the Guardian's Rising one is rotating, but they've got awkward attacks. But now they're taking 100 damage, so it gets so much better. And then, of course, you can bring in Pokemon like Granbull. Now, if you can get this working with Granbull, it's amazing. Because, you see, Granbull's only got 130 HP. So your opponent can hit 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, and they'll get the KO without activating the damage, which sucks. But Granbull hits 160. With this, it's 260. With a Shrine of Punishment for one turn, it's 270. There's your 1-hit KO, essentially, on Reshiram and Charizard. So Reshiram and Charizard, what do they do? Do they let you hit them for 160? Oh no, wait, they can't let you hit them for 160 because then Outrage will do 190 and activate the tool. And in a format without Field Blower and without Guzma, basically the best ways we've got to get around this are all rotating. This is amazing. I can't sit here and go through every single interaction. I don't think Metagross is the best one, I just think it's a really fun interaction. But clearly, Pikachu and Zekrom and Reshiram and Charizard, the two best decks at the moment, they both hit for 180 or more. They both have significantly over 180 HP. And they're the magic numbers here. I think you can expect to see this in an awful lot of decks. And look, if you can find stuff that can really take advantage of it, I don't know, maybe something like Celebi and Venusaur, because their GX attack shuffles their entire hand back into their deck, although they do like Choice Helmet to reduce damage, so that's a decision for you to make. And then all of a sudden you've got 8 of these in your deck. I don't know exactly what the best uses for this are going to be, but essentially you're looking for any Pokemon where you're expecting to take 180 damage, and as a quick ruling thing, if I've got 130 HP, I can still take 180 damage. So it's not like Granbull can never activate this. Granbull will be fine as long as they do 180. And with the switching options and gusting options gone, and Field Blower going, I can see this being amazing. I'm giving it 5 Wassies. I think it's great. I am super excited about it. But I would very much like to know what you think about it. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about games that don't even have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross and you've been watching PTCG Radio.